You're listening to the SSPX podcast. A little bit of an extra bonus episode for you today. We're speaking with the Program Director of KSMK-98.3 FM. That's Mr. John Steele. John is the Program Director. That means he's in charge of the radio station that is based on Assumption Chapel in St. Mary's, Kansas, and it is broadcasting throughout the area, a short area, but he is broadcasting an actual radio signal throughout the area. To our knowledge, the only traditional Catholic radio station that is in existence in the United States, and it is also available online. So you can tune into that. We'll explain a little bit about how to tune in and a little bit about the history of the radio station, what he hopes to achieve, what the programming is like, and what you can expect when you tune into it. So let's turn right to our interview with John Steele. Normally we have our priests on, and normally we have people of great importance, and I'm already insulting our guest here today by welcoming Mr. John Steele to the program. Hello, Mr. Steele. Oh, John, how are you?
Andrew, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And you know what? You and I have never met, but I feel like we have a kind of a shared connection because of your role with KSMK 98.3 FM out in St. Mary's, Kansas. You are the Program Director, Station Manager. You're kind of the one guy who's managing everything. Is that right?
I guess you could call me chief cook and bottle washer or something like that. I try to do it all.
Fantastic. Well,
not very successfully sometimes, but I try.
We do the best we can. Well, John, you reached out to me a little while ago and said, could we broadcast some of the podcast episodes? And I said, yeah, of course. And it got me thinking that there's probably a lot of people in the SSPX and the traditional Catholic world who don't know that KSMK exists, especially for people who are outside of the St. Mary's, Kansas region. So could you give us a little bit of a background of what KSMK is and what the station is?
Sure. It's traditional Catholic radio, 24/7, 365. We try to broadcast sermons and conferences throughout the day. We intersperse some classical music. I do full 15-decade rosaries 3 times a day. I have 2 hours of chant in the morning. I have prime. I have compline. The Angelus, really we just try to do as much traditional Catholic programming as we can. Don't focus so much on the music or the classical music, as it were, because you can get that stuff pretty much anywhere. But There's a lot of great content out there that we're able to grab and share with folks. And it's kind of it's an interesting hybrid. It started out here in St. Mary's as just a low power FM radio station, and then with the help of Father John Jenkins, he came up and said, "Hey, look, let's put this thing on the internet." And so now we stream, and we have people listening in Japan and the UK and Germany and Russia and all over the place. And so that's really kind of fun. You really feel like you are somewhat having an impact globally here from little old St. Mary's, Kansas.
That's wonderful. And going back to the history of it a little bit, it was a radio station that started back at what I believe in 2002, and Mr. Herman Belderock, rest in peace, started this whole ball rolling. Got a bunch of equipment from other radio stations and donated. And I believe Mr. Ray, also rest in peace, down in Florida, he helped with getting the transmitter and the tower set up on the water tower, on the campus of St. Mary's. And kind of from those humble beginnings, it's been really a passion project for a lot of people throughout the years at St. Mary's.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Mr. Belderock, like you said, rest in peace. I never got an opportunity to meet him. But wow, what a pioneer. And just really, you have more dealings with Herman than I have had, because you've got history here in St. Mary's as well.
Yeah, and like I said, but before I moved away from St. Mary's, you and I had never met, but I was fortunate to be in a position to help him get that set up and going, and it's been great to see you kind of pick up the baton and roll with it. For those people who are in St. Mary's or who may be traveling through and want to actually tune in on the terrestrial radio, as we call it, how far is the station? You said it's a low power radio station. How far does it reach? Does it cover a wide area, or is it really just for the St. Mary's area?
It's really just for the St. Mary's area. We're licensed out to about 17 and a half miles radius. So, it's not great. It is, like I said, a low power station because when you start getting into more power with the FCC, you need a bigger license. And of course, that entails lawyers and money and all that fun stuff that we just simply don't have.
Sure. And obviously, it's a nonprofit radio station. It's licensed to St. Mary's Academy. I think technically it's licensed to an organization within St. Mary's Academy, but it is an apostolate of St. Mary's of Assumption Chapel, the priory there, and so it is licensed essentially to the SSPX. And you're the guy who oversees. I guess I asked a lot of questions there, but
that's okay. So. It's funny because this is pre-COVID, content wasn't nearly as prolific as it is now. I mean, you can get content all over the globe, right? I mean, I can get content from the UK and I can get it from Australia, and because with COVID, everybody went up to the web. And now everybody's sharing everything. And so there's just wonderful content out there everywhere. I mean, I've formed a wonderful relationship with Father Robinson, and he sends me his sermons from Watkins almost weekly. As a matter of fact, I'll have one of his sermons on tonight in our sermon hour we do a sermon hour every night, 7 days a week at 8:00. And he'll be my leadoff sermon tonight for the homily that he preached for Christ the King this last Sunday.
That's great. And so that gets into the schedule, the basic schedule. You talked about it a little bit, 15-decade rosary and a couple hours of chant in the morning. And if people want to tune in and hear a sermon each evening, they can do that. You have a set time every evening for that?
Oh yeah. I have set times throughout the day. So for example, if you want to hear sermons and conferences, you can tune in at like 8:00 in the morning. Obviously these are all Central Time. So if you're listening in Japan or,
do some math.
Botswana, I have no idea what time it is.
Yeah.
But so we do sermon and conferences at 8:00. We do them at 12 noon, and then we do them at 8:00 in the evening again. So 3 hours every day of rock solid Catholicism, and I even do a sermon conference hour at 1:00 in the morning too, just for folks that might have to be working through the night, or as I said, because it's on the internet and streaming, that's 9:00 in the morning somewhere where somebody might be listening. So
sure. And you talked about the people who are listening. What are you trying to achieve? And I'm familiar with what Mr. Bellrock had wanted to do, but you, John, when you're programming things, what is it that you're hoping to help people with or to do?
So there's people out there that really want true, authentic Catholicism, and they can't get it because they're rural or they're homebound or things like that. And the radio and the internet stream is literally a lifeline to them. I've had some older people, even around the St. Mary's area, that have called me and said, hey, I just want to let you know, or they've called my wife and said, hey, I just want to let you know that my grandma loves praying the rosary with the radio every day, and she's homebound and she can't get out. She can't get to the sacraments, and it's her lifeline to the church. And so I really want that to be the central focus here. I want people that are out in wherever they are and they can't get to a mass to be able to hear a wonderful sermon, to be able to pray the rosary, to be able to, hear these wonderful conferences and just know that there's rock solid Catholicism being preached all over the globe, and, take comfort in that. I'm sure it's hard, especially in some of these smaller chapels and things like that. Maybe you have mass like once every other week or once every 3 weeks or something like that. Well, that's tough. I mean, so This is hopefully a little bit of a beacon. It's funny because, there's that song, that St. Mary's Beacon on the Plain. I really think we're trying to be that beacon on the plain here and try to promote traditional Catholicism in the U.S. and hopefully around the world.
That's great. And it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. That's awesome. So we've talked about the programming and who you would like to reach and the reason behind it. Let's get to how people can listen. So how can someone tune in if they want to?
So the easiest way is just go right to our website, which is ksmk.org. I'll be flat out honest with you. It's not a great website, but I work a full-time job and this is all volunteer. So, I try to do the best I can, but they can go to ksmk.org. We have an embedded tuner player right there. They can just click that and then they can listen to it through their stereo speakers or their computer speakers if they'd like. Or we also are on the TuneIn app for mobile devices, and you can just search KSMK, and it'll show up with our logo and traditional Catholic radio and all of that, and you can listen on your mobile devices as well. If you're in and around St. Mary's, it's 98.3 FM on the dial. So. That's great. And, just to get back to kind of the neat part about it being still a terrestrial radio station, it's, just before I left St. Mary's, there was a lot of talk about getting it online, and we were working towards doing that. And there was something special to me about it still being you're driving in a car, or you have an old radio from the 80s, 90s, a boombox or something. You can still tune into it on and that's really, I think, something special that not a lot of other places have. To my knowledge, and I could be wrong, to my knowledge, there's not another traditional Catholic radio station that's broadcasting terrestrially at least in the country, if not the world. I don't have any idea, but yeah, like I said, we try to do our best, and we're starting to do more live things. We have the 50th anniversary Jubilee conferences that are going on all this week in St. Mary's. We've broadcast all those live this week, and that's been really good. Father Rutledge has kind of encouraged us to do some of the sporting events around St. Mary's. We've done a couple of football games, a couple of basketball games, things like that. So that the grandparents maybe that are homebound or can't come out on a cold Friday night or something like that, they can still listen to their grandson, score that winning touchdown or what have you. Just, try to really personalize it as far as, and again, it's really more of an apostolate to try to help people that are homebound and are just looking for tradition and traditional ways of life and living. Absolutely. Well, let's get to the $1 million, hopefully, question. How can people help the station? How can they help support this apostolate? So I need to, and I don't have it yet, but I need to get a PayPal link up on my website. I don't have it yet, but they could certainly contact me through email, which is ksmk98.3 @gmail.com. And, we're happy to see what we can do to receive those funds. We'll try to figure that part out. But more importantly, just pray for this apostolate. Really pray that if it's God's holy and divine will, that this thing would just grow. That's great. Well, John, you're doing yeoman's work out there on the plains, and we appreciate what you're doing. And I love the fact that I can tune in from wherever I am and listen to the work continue on. It's been great to chat with you. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate your time very much. Thanks for listening to this bonus episode of the SSPX podcast, and we're hoping to do more of these types of interviews with people throughout the District of the United States and throughout the English-speaking world who are doing some sort of unique or interesting apostolate. Maybe it's an apostolate that they need a little bit of help with, or maybe it's just something that we want to draw a little bit more attention to. So if you know of someone who maybe could be featured on one of these episodes, please let us know. Just go to sspxpodcast.com and drop us a line. But if you want to tune in to the radio station, KSMK-LP 98.3 FM, just go to ksmk.org and you can tune in and listen live anytime. Like John said, it is broadcasting live 24/7, 365. And if you'd like to support the radio station, if you'd like to support this apostolate, please drop him a line. We have his email address in the show notes, or it's at ksmk98.3 @gmail.com. Again, we have all those notes on our show notes page, so just click on notes when you're listening to the podcast, and all of that information will be right there for you.
Until next time, thank you for listening, and God bless you.